Hi, welcome to the Read Aloud for the Dreamwalker, a short story by R. Lucas. You can find this ebook on Ingot. The link is in the description. Chapter 1. The rain came down in sheets, turning the October afternoon gray and thin. Alora stood in the doorway of their new apartment, watching water cascade off the balcony railing, and tried not to cry over a coffee mug. It wasn't just any mug. It was her grandmother's mug. Cream-colored ceramic with painted violets that had faded to ghost of themselves over decades of use. The movers had packed it poorly, wedging it between textbooks without any paper, and now it lay in 3 neat pieces at the bottom of a cardboard box. Alora had lifted each shard carefully, as though tenderness might undo the breaking. "Babe, they're trying to get the couch up." She turned. Corbin stood in the doorway, phone in hand, his dark hair plastered to his forehead from the rain. He wasn't looking at her. His thumb moved across the screen in that absent way she'd learned meant work emails or Reddit or anything else that wasn't her. "The couch?" she repeated. "Won't fit through the door. They're rigging something with a rope." He glanced up, finally, and his expression softened when he saw her face. "Hey, what's wrong?" She held up the pieces. For a moment, she thought he might say something meaningful and comforting, might cross the room and pull her against his chest. Instead, he winced. That sucks. I'm sorry." He looked back at his phone. "I'll get you a new one." "It was my grandmother's." "I know. I'm sorry." But his attention had already drifted back to the glowing screen, and Alora felt the cold of irreplaceable loss settle in her chest. She placed the pieces back in the box gently, as if burying them. Outside, men were shouting. She went to the balcony and watched them thread a rope through the couch's wooden legs, hauling it up the side of the building like a piece of furniture in a heist movie. It should have been funny. It should have been one of those stories they'd tell later, laughing over wine. "Remember when we moved in and they had to pulley the couch over the balcony?" But Alora couldn't find the humor. Joss had promised to help today, but she texted 2 hours ago. "Stuck at work, sorry, I'll bring wine tomorrow." Tomorrow. Tomorrow, Alora would be unpacked and settled, and there would be no reason for Joss to stay long. The couch made it over the railing. The men rustled it through the balcony door, grunting and swearing, and Alora stepped aside to let them pass. One of them tracked mud across the carpet. She watched the dark print spread and said nothing. When the movers finally left, Corbin stood in the center of the apartment, hands on his hips, surveying the wreckage. Boxes everywhere, furniture shoved against the walls, the faint smell of mildew from the rain-soaked cushions. He let out a long breath. "This is our place," he said, trying to be celebratory. Alora looked around the apartment. It was small, the walls beige, the carpet already stained. The kitchen had a window that overlooked a parking lot. Their bedroom had no door yet, just an empty frame. But it was theirs. She left her family 3 states away for this. For him. "Yeah," she said, and tried to smile. Corbin ordered pizza. He opened a bottle of wine someone had given them as a housewarming gift and poured 2 glasses, sloshing a little onto the counter. Alora watched him move through the tiny kitchen, pulling plates from a box, tearing paper towels from the roll because they hadn't unpacked napkins yet. He was trying. She could see him trying. "Come on," he said, handing her a glass. "Let's eat." They sat on the floor because the couch was still damp. Alora leaned against a stack of boxes and sipped her wine too fast. It was cheap and sweet, the kind that gave her headaches, but she drank it anyway. Corbin scrolled through his phone while he ate, his face illuminated blue-white in the dim apartment. "You okay?" he asked without looking up. "Tired." "Yeah." He set his phone down finally and looked at her. Really looked. His eyes were dark warm, the same eyes that had pulled her in 3 years ago in college. He reached over and tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. "You've been a trooper today. I know it's been rough." Her throat tightened. "I'm sorry. I know I've been, I don't know, emotional." "You're allowed to be emotional." He said it kindly, but the words were laced with impatience, a wanting for her to be done with this mood so they could move on. She finished her wine. The room tilted slightly, exhaustion and alcohol blurring the edges. She stood, swaying, and Corbin caught her elbow. "Hey, go lie down. I'll take care of this." "I can help." "Alora." His voice was firm. "Go to sleep. I've got it." She wanted to argue, wanted to prove she wasn't useless, wasn't the kind of woman who'd collapse while her boyfriend did all the work. But her body was so heavy, her mind fogged, and the thought of lying down was suddenly the only thing that mattered. The bedroom was chaos, boxes stacked against walls, clothes still in garbage bags, their mattress on the floor without sheets. She found a blanket in one of the bags, something soft and familiar, and pulled it over herself. Through the open doorframe, she could hear Corbin moving in the living room. The scrape of cardboard, the rustle of packing paper. And she closed her eyes. Sleep came fast, too fast. She sank into it like water, like drowning, and then she was somewhere else. She woke to the pale morning light and the smell of coffee. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. The ceiling was wrong, too low and textured, and the sounds were unfamiliar. Traffic humming somewhere in the distance, a dog barking, footsteps overhead. Then it came back. The apartment, the move, the broken mug, the dream. She sat up slowly, her body strange and heavy. The dream clung to her like humidity, details already slipping away, but the feeling remaining. Heat, hands, a voice she almost recognized. She pressed her palms to her face, trying to shake it off, but she couldn't. In the kitchen, Corbin was making breakfast. She could hear the sizzle of eggs in a pan, the beep of the coffee maker. She stood, wrapped the blanket around her shoulders, and padded out to find him. He'd unpacked everything. The kitchen was pristine, dishes in cabinets, utensils in drawers, the coffee maker on the counter, with mugs hanging from hooks. In the living room, books lined the shelves, pictures leaned against the wall, waiting to be hung, the couch positioned just right beneath the window. He'd done all of this while she slept. "Hey," he turned from the stove, spatula in hand, and smiled. "You're up." She stared at him, at this man who'd stayed awake all night to build their home while she collapsed like a child. Guilt rushed through her, hot and immediate. "Corbin, you didn't have to. I should have helped." "You were exhausted, but I should have." "Alora." He turned back to the eggs, flipping them with a practiced motion. "It's fine. You needed sleep." "Thank you." Her voice cracked. "Really, thank you so much. I'm sorry it wasn't more help yesterday. Everything was so." "I know." He slid eggs onto 2 plates, added toast from the toaster. "Come eat." She crossed to him, took the spatula from his hand. "Let me finish. You cooked. I can." "It's already done." "I know, but..." She was already reaching for the pan, for the plates, trying to take over because this is what she did. What she was supposed to do. She cooked better than he did anyway. It was one of the things she was good at, one of the ways she could prove her worth. He let her take the plates to the table, let her pour the coffee, fuss with the cream and sugar. But she could feel him watching her, annoyance written on his face. They ate in silence. The eggs were good, perfectly cooked, but Alora barely tasted them. Her mind kept drifting back to the dream, to the sensation of being touched in ways she couldn't quite remember, but couldn't quite forget. She shifted in her chair. "Did you stay up all night?" she asked, trying to focus on him, on real things. "Most of it. Got a couple of hours on the couch around 4. "You must be exhausted." He shrugged. "I'm fine. I need to run out after this, though. We're out of trash bags and batteries for the remotes." "I'll come with you." The words came out automatically. She didn't even think about them, but the moment they left her mouth, she saw his jaw tighten, just for a second before his face smoothed. "It's just the store, babe. I can handle it." "I know, but I want to come. We can make a thing of it." "Alora." He set down his fork with careful precision. His eyes met hers, but the emotion in them had grown distant. "I'm perfectly capable of going alone." There it was, that flatness in his gaze, like he was looking at her from very far away. She felt herself shrinking, an apology already forming on her tongue, but she pushed through it. I just thought it'd be nice to do it together. He stared at her before blinking once, slowly. Then his face softened, the warmth flooding back as he laughed, short and affectionate. All right, fine, you can come. He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. You're ridiculous, you know that? She smiled, relief washing over her. I know. But later, when he stood to clear the plates, she caught it again. The way his mouth pressed into a thin line before he bent to kiss the top of her head. The kiss itself was gentle, lingering, but his shoulders had gone rigid. She told herself she'd imagined it. She told herself everything was fine. This has been a read aloud of The Dreamwalker, a short story by R. Lucas, narrated by R. Lucas. Stay tuned for Chapter 2.